I guess I had it all wrong. So focused on me that I couldn't see what's actually going on. Spent all of my time to get first in line. Now I realize, don't waste your time, baby, on things that make it hard to love, love, love. I used to think a winner was all I really had to be, to make my family proud, to make something out of me. I was good at everything, we don't doubt it. Said I could be anything that I wanna be. But what does that mean? Oh, I guess I had it all wrong. So focused on me that I couldn't see what's actually going on. Spent all of my time to get first in line. Now I realize, don't waste your time, baby, on things that make it hard to love, love, love. Sometimes you need to look out beyond your own 2 feet. I didn't see what's out there until I climbed the tree. We all wanna be first, I don't doubt it. Sometimes that's the worst part of me. Well, my apologies. Oh, I guess I had it all wrong. So focused on me that I couldn't see what's really going on. Wasted my time to get first in line. Now I realize, don't waste your time, baby. Don't waste your time, baby. Don't waste your time, baby. And on things that make it hard to love, love, love.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Shauna. I'm one of the teaching pastors here, and welcome to our first week of The Measure of Success. Success can be measured in many ways. College degrees, salary, relationships, health. I mean, the list can go on and on. Well, I have another way. The number 5, as in 5 kilometers. And to help me explain what that means, I have my friend Danielle Green here with me to tell us more about it.
Thank you, Shauna. Since 2003, Kensington has partnered with Pokot Outreach Ministries, otherwise known as POM, to reach the Pokot people of Western Kenya. One of the ways we serve the Pokot people is to help provide clean drinking water through our Hope Water Project ministry. And that brings us to the 5 kilometers Shauna was talking about.
All right, Danielle, I think you can take it from here. I'm gonna go start training for this 5K.
Good luck! Coming up on June 3rd, we're hosting our 9th annual 5K and Fun Run. This is for everyone of all ages. Whether you're an avid runner running a sub 5-minute mile, or just someone who'd like to have some fresh air and enjoy hanging out with some really cool people. This is a great way to support the beautiful people in Western Kenya from thousands of miles away.
Woo! All right. Okay, well, I think I'm ready now. But training aside, this really is an incredible opportunity that we have to make a huge difference in people's lives.
There are estimated to be over 1 million Pokot living in some of the harshest conditions on Earth, but we consider them to be family. And over the past 13 years, more than 135 wells have been installed. With each one, villages have grown, lives have been saved, communities have been formed, and thousands of people have heard the gospel for the very first time.
Which is absolutely incredible. And having just been with the Pocot a few months ago, I witnessed firsthand the impact of clean drinking water. But I also saw how there is still so much more to be done. So grab your phones, put it on your calendar, lace up your favorite pair of running shoes, and join us on June 3rd. You can register by going to kensingtonchurch.org/HWP. And I gotta tell you, I look forward to the Hope Water Project 5K every year. And something else, though, that I'm really excited about is our upcoming women's retreat. Are you gonna be there?
I wouldn't miss it.
Cool, I'm also gonna be there. So women, whether you are young, single, married, an empty nester, seasoned, or somewhere in between, we invite you to join us for a few days away. It'll be a time to connect with other women, to adventure together, to discover beauty, to experience joy, and to grow in your faith journey. All women are invited to join us for our retreat on May 19th through the 21st at Spring Hill Camps. And men, we would love for you to invite the women in your life to come be a part of this incredible weekend experience. It's going to be an amazing few days where we will embrace rest, implore grace, and inspire love. We can't wait to see you and gather together as women at this year's retreat.
I almost took that guitar out on the way here. Boy, that would have been a way to start today. Well, good morning, everyone. How are you? For those of you who don't know who I am, my name's Adam. Just want to start off by saying, would really encourage you to check out the Hope Water Project and come run out with us. I did it last year, was my first year doing it. We've been doing it for many years. There was only 2 sets of tears in my family, that wasn't including mine, in chasing my children in the fun run part. But it's a great time, whether you're a serious runner or somebody to just come out and hang out for the day. And if you have any questions about Hope Water, Danielle, who is in that video, is actually with us. She'll be out in the lobby. Would love to have you do that, as well as sign up for the women's retreat as well. So, hey, if you were in here right at the beginning, you saw we started off the message with a song that's not a typical church kind of worship song, but it was leaning into this idea of what it actually means to be successful. And today we're starting a new series called The Measure of Success. And Shauna, who you saw in the video as well, is actually here to lead through and teach us. Kind of because I think most of us, if we went throughout this room, could have a different approach, and a lot of us would have a different definition of what success is. And we want to look at that today, is how it kind of comes at it from the Bible and this really old king named Solomon and the wisdom that he had to give us on the subject. So glad you're here. We've got a pretty interesting visual for the message, so just pumped that you would be here with us today for that. Now, if you were here last week, we had a great Sunday. We had baptisms, but in the beginning part of the message, we also had a congregational vote to affirm Brian Mowry as the new senior pastor over all of Kensington. And for those of you that weren't here, you just get in a little bit of the details. We had an overwhelming majority of the people that affirmed him. We had 99%, almost 99% of the people do that. And we reached out to Brian, and he said yes. So Brian and his family will be coming to Kensington sometime towards the end of the summer. So that's exciting time for us here in our church, but also want to say, man, I hope you'll join me in praying for their family. They're moving from Connecticut, and it's always a big deal to leave school, to leave family and friends. They've got 4 daughters that age and range from, I think it's 17 down to 10. So they're going to be saying goodbye to people that they love and care for, as well as becoming here. So will you join me in praying for them, their transition, and looking forward to seeing them in the summer here as well. Now, we do have a couple of things happening in the next couple of weeks in the life of our church. So the first one is next week. We're going to have midweek. That is on May 17th. So I want to invite you out to that. It's going to be another time of worship and a message that we're going to be having. But then the following month, we're doing something a little bit different. Instead of having a midweek, we're going to have a worship night. I just want to put that on your radar so you can see the details of that coming in the future. We would love to have you join out in those couple environments for us. And then one last thing, as you saw, we have the women's retreat coming up. Well, our men's groups have kind of taken a break for the summer, but if you're interested in having the chance to get together with other men and meet, stop in the hub after the service. You can give them your information. We have something that meets every other week. Would love to encourage you to be able to jump in with them and be a part of that if you are so interested as well. If you have any specific questions, find Jim Henkel. If you don't know who he is, grab me or one of our staff. We'd love to introduce you or point you out to him. Now,
I said a lot. If you have any questions about any of that after the service, stop out in the hub afterwards. We have some people there in bright orange shirts, as you can see kind of throughout our room. They would love to meet you, answer any questions, or get your information if you need to hear from one of us. And if you're a guest, man, this is your first, second, third time here, and we've never been able to interact with you, we would love the chance to do that. And then we've got a little something just to say thank you for being here with us today. So, as you came in, you probably got a name tag to put your name on it. We had a question for you. In your shopping pursuing, are you more of an online shopper? Are you a Facebook marketplace? Do you like to go old school yard sales, or do you like things new? So why don't everybody go ahead, stand up, greet your neighbor, and maybe have a quick conversation about how it is that you like to shop.
Hey Kensington, Sam Anderson. We're going to connect with some people here on the street. We're at Campus Martius in Detroit. We're going to talk about success. How does our culture define success? How do you define success? Are you, in fact, successful? So let's go. Let's talk to some people. How would you say our culture defines success?
By the media.
By the media?
You know, social media.
Yeah.
Having a culture, a positive culture, having a positive mindset, having people around you, really just have it. Well, we gotta cut.
Huh?
We gotta cut.
Why we gotta cut? You're right on it, man. No.
There needs to be something fulfilled. So there's a goal, and then that gets completed.
Money, I guess, maybe.
Money?
Yeah.
But I really do think that having a lot of people with different backgrounds, a different perspective on life, and just all different backgrounds really come together to do one thing is what it's all about. You know,
Fast living, sports cars. You know, the living a life like a rock star.
Accomplishments and materialistic things, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
I would say status.
Status?
Yes.
Okay, what do you mean by status?
How far you get, maybe it'd be degrees or within a workplace, like titles.
Okay, how would you define success?
Not having to think about money.
Okay, like you have so much of it?
No. Just like, you know, like I don't have to worry about like either like rent or mortgage or any of that kind of stuff, and just like, I don't know, just like less stress, less worry.
I'm working hard.
Okay.
Grinding.
So I define success, there's a number of things. It could be financially. Obviously, money is always a good thing to have.
Yeah.
But just setting goals through life and hitting those goals.
For me, it's impact.
Okay.
And the things that I'm doing, how they impact the community that I live in.
Yeah.
And how, you know, the people around me perceive me.
Family.
Okay.
Family.
Like
Family.
Family support. Being
Right.
supported by the family.
Yeah.
Actually having a firm foundation.
Yeah.
You know, being able to actually standing on your own.
Yeah.
You know, not relying on individuals.
You know, life of happiness, so whatever that might look like, whether it be experiences, sometimes it's financial, but getting to a place where it's like I want to comfortably do the things, see the things, giving back, I would say is a part of it too.
Would you consider yourself successful?
Yeah, I suppose.
Okay, why?
I get to do basically, I'm comfortable with what I'm doing.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, right on. I love it.
Yeah.
Would you guys consider yourselves successful?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Getting there.
Getting there, on the way.
Yep.
On the journey.
Yep.
Perfect. Thanks, dude.
Cool.
That's it. Appreciate you.
Yep.
Well, good morning. And it's great to be here with you today as we kick off our series, Measure of Success. Now, success is defined as the accomplishment of an aim or a purpose. It's meeting the defined range of expectations. And as we saw in that video, people define success in many different ways. But one thing is the same when it comes to success, and that is that we all want to achieve it. Me included. We want to experience success in our life, in our marriages, in our families, our relationships, in our careers, even in our hobbies. We want to have success. And so many times then we base our decisions, our actions, and even our relationships by how we define success. I mean, just think about it. How many things do you brag about or maybe take pride in or work really hard at because you believe it will bring success. But does it? Maybe. Maybe it just doesn't matter. Which makes me think of the story. In 1945, there was a Japanese soldier who was deployed to Lubang Island, and his mission was to stay and fight. Well, soon afterwards, Japanese forces withdrew. They dropped all these pamphlets on the island saying that the war was over, but he thought those pamphlets was enemy propaganda. So he decided to stay because he wanted to finish his mission. And he stayed on the island for 30 years. For 30 years, he stayed there, defining success by accomplishing this mission. A mission that no longer even mattered. So when it comes to success, what actually matters? Like, how do we measure success? What does that look like for those of us who are Christ followers? So over the next few weeks, we're going to lean into some of those questions and discover what it could mean for our lives. And today, we're going to navigate measuring success and measuring success with tomorrow in mind. And so as we jump into this, I just want to take a moment to pray and to ask God to speak to our hearts today. Would you join me? God, I just thank you so much for this day. I thank you for every person that is here in the auditorium or watching online. And I just pray that, God, that you would move in our hearts today, that you would open it up, that we would hear you speak to us. And as we take time to just even reflect on our own lives and see the areas that maybe we've been pursuing success, that we would see it through your lens today, God, that we would see that maybe there's a different way to view it and what it looks like to view it through your eyes and the purposes that you have that maybe have nothing to do with the temporary, but with the eternity, God. And so we give these things to you in your name. Amen. Now, talking about success, one of the things when I think about Kensington that really is successful is our relationship with Indigenous leaders. It's one of the heartbeat of who we are here at Kensington through our global partners, that we have these partnerships and relationships with people in many different parts of the world, from India to Nepal to Kenya. We even had a team just return this last week from Nepal. They got to go be a part of putting on a survivors conference for women and girls who have been rescued from human trafficking. And these girls that have been through rescue homes and different training and who have now been equipped with different skills are really women who are empowered in their communities, who are making a difference and sharing the love and the transformation of Jesus. And it's absolutely incredible, and it's such an honor to be able to partner with them. And we are able to see the success of those lives and hundreds and thousands more. It's because of the partnership between us and those relationships all across the world. And so we are so grateful for that. But many times how we are able to partner with them is by our finances. And so at this time, we are going to receive our offering. And there's different ways that you can give here at Kensington. You can give as the bag passes you by, or on the screen there, you can see the different ways that you can give electronically. And we just invite you to jump in and be a part of this mission, a mission for more people, both globally and locally, to experience the love and the hope of Jesus Christ that brings transformation to lives. So thank you so much for your faithful giving and for being on mission with us. Now, when talking about success, there is a common phrase, maybe you've heard it, about climbing the ladder of success. And we live in this culture that really tries to climb this ladder, that believes that if you can get higher and higher on the ladder of success, that you will become more successful and really more powerful. And the thing is, this ladder of success really starts at a very young age. Like, I can remember as a little girl, one of the things that I desperately wanted was a real Cabbage Patch doll. Like that. Anyone else? Any other 80s kids out there? Like, that was, man, I need it. And when I got her, she came with a certificate, it was official. And I was like, yes, I have made it. But the problem was, the company kept improving the dolls. And then they came out with a doll that had real hair. Look at that luscious silk hair. Oh, it was amazing. I had the one, I think it's that one. You could pull the ponytail and it would go shorter or longer. Oh, because I thought that old yarn hair doll was not enough. So I needed this doll because, in a sense, it was like a small step, but I was stepping on this ladder of success. I needed to get a little higher. I needed to be a little better than all of my other 80s kids out there. I needed that doll. But the thing is, like many things in life, it didn't stop there. So I can remember being in middle school, and one of the things I really wanted to achieve and really wanted to find success in was my grades. I will admit it, I was kind of an overachiever, okay? So I worked really hard, I studied, and I studied more, then I was part of extracurricular activities and sports, whatever it took, so that I could have the top grade in my class. So that way I could have success when what I thought was climbing to the very top of the ladder of success. Well, once again, after middle school, there was another ladder. And in high school, I again started climbing this ladder because I needed to have success in my life. And one of the areas that I wanted to have success was that I was a musician. And so I played in the band, I was saxophone, and that meant that I needed to be first chair saxophone, because first chair means you're the best. And so I practiced, I rehearsed, I did whatever it took. I was in band, and then out of school, I was in other musical things and orchestras, whatever it took so I could find success and keep climbing this ladder. But the problem is, after high school, there was more ladders, and I went off to Bible school. Once again, there was another ladder, and then after Bible school, then it's getting a job. And then in that job, I'm climbing up the ladder to get higher and higher, get more promotions, continue to do things, find success in my job. And then I met my husband, we got married, and then I needed to excel as a wife. Like, I needed to be the best wife possible. I needed to find success that way, and then we have kids, and then I have to be like the best parent, keep climbing up this ladder. And then Pinterest came out. Yeah, if you've tried to climb that ladder, there's just no way you will ever get to the top of the Pinterest ladder. It's impossible. But it felt like no matter what I'm doing in life, I'm constantly climbing these ladders, and they just kind of keep getting higher and higher. And maybe you can relate. Maybe it was getting into the top college of your choice, and then after college, it's getting that job, and then it's meeting someone, it's getting married, then it's getting a promotion, and then it's losing the weight, that's starting a family, then you need to get the car, and then you get the apartment, then you need the house, and then you need the bigger house. It feels like it doesn't stop. Because as soon as we reach the top, or what we think is the pinnacle of success, what will bring us the ultimate satisfaction, we only discover that there is either another rung to climb or another ladder. And they just get taller and taller and taller. And the thing is, it's not that we keep climbing these ladders, but it's the fact that we actually have more than one ladder in our life at once. That we have multiple ladders going on. So we might have a ladder for maybe your family, for relationships. You might have a career ladder. Maybe there's a money ladder. Maybe there's even a spiritual ladder. And because we have multiple ladders, it can kind of get a little messy sometimes. So maybe you're on the career ladder and you're climbing it and you're doing really good. You're like, oh yeah, I got the promotion. You keep climbing. You're like going up. You're like, this is it. But maybe the family ladder ain't doing so hot. You feel like you're on the bottom rung. Or maybe you've tried climbing a certain ladder and it went okay, or then it felt like you more like fell off the ladder, or maybe sometimes it even feels like you get knocked off the ladder. And that can leave us feeling quite weary, overwhelmed, anxious, stressed, exhausted. So does that mean that we shouldn't pursue success? I mean, is it really attainable? Or is there a different way for us to measure success? Today, we're going to be taking a look at a book in the Old Testament that records the life and really the accomplishments of one of Israel's kings, Solomon. Now, Solomon, he had a pretty unique situation as God told him to ask him for anything he wanted. Can you imagine? Like, what would you request? I mean, there's a lot of things you could request. It kind of reminds me of Aladdin and the whole genie in the bottle. Now, Aladdin, he wanted to be prince. And then there's this whole number like Prince Ali, Fabulous. It's really fun. You should watch the movie if you haven't seen it, okay? But Solomon was already a king. So he didn't need that whole musical number. And he ends up requesting wisdom. Solomon is a much better person than I am because I don't think that's what I would have requested. But Solomon requested wisdom so that he would have that wisdom to lead God's people as king. And because he asked God for such an honorable thing, and he didn't ask for like money or power or like a long life, which is kind of more like what I would have asked for, because if I have lots of money, you know what I can get? Lots of shoes. And I really love shoes. Like that would be what I want. But Solomon was different. He asked for wisdom. And since he asked for that, God honored this request. And all of the above. So Solomon ended up becoming one of the wisest, wealthiest, and most accomplished kings ever, like as in all of human history ever. So what does a guy who had everything he could want and more reveal to us about success? We read in Ecclesiastes 1, it says, meaningless, says the teacher. Utterly meaningless. Everything is meaningless. What do people gain from all their labors at which they toil under the sun? Well, that doesn't sound too hopeful there, Solomon. Now, Solomon, he refers to himself as the teacher here. He says that it's all meaningless, that life is meaningless. Not only does it sound hopeless, but it almost sounds a little harsh. Meaningless? But my guess is that maybe for some of us, at one point, life has felt meaningless. Other translations use the word frustrating. So whether or not you have thought that life is meaningless, it probably has felt frustrating at times. I know it has for me. And as you continue to read through Ecclesiastes, we see that Solomon, he is testing out and trying out all these different ladders to see if one can bring success or that complete satisfaction from success. And he concludes that life, it is full of a lot of ladders. But that they just don't matter. Now, the world is a much different place than when Solomon was king. But many of the ladders that he pursued and tried climbing are the same that we have in our culture today. So I want to take a closer look at a couple of those and see why Solomon said it just leads to a meaningless life. And so the first one is this, is the ladder of money. So Solomon, he was rich. We're talking like stupid rich, which meant he had a lot of very nice and very expensive things. I mean, just take his throne, for example. It was not just like a normal royal throne, probably like what you might have seen yesterday if you watched the coronation of King Charles. Oh, no. Solomon's throne had 6 steps leading up to it, and on each step there were multiple golden animals as statues. But they weren't just statues, they actually made noises and roared at people. And the throne would be able to scatter fragrant spices, like it had like a perfume button or something. I mean, I don't even know what all of this is. Like, it's almost over the top. And that's just his throne. This guy had way more money than he knew what to do with. And with all of that dough, Solomon's conclusion is that it doesn't matter. He says, is there anything of which one can say, look, this is something new. It was here already, long ago. It was here before our time. No one remembers the former generations, and even those yet to come will not be remembered by those who follow them. I, the teacher, was king over Israel and Jerusalem. I applied my mind to study and to explore by wisdom all that is done under the heavens. What a heavy burden God has laid on mankind. I have seen all the things that are done under the sun. All of them are meaningless, a chasing after the wind. He says climbing this ladder is like chasing after the wind. Have you ever tried to chase the wind? Now, last fall, I was up visiting my family in Vancouver, Canada, and my 4-year-old niece tried to chase the wind. It was super cute and charming, and then there was like a feather blowing, and then it kind of came to the point where it was almost comical because there was no earthly way she was ever going to catch the wind. And then finally, she did give up. And because she gave up, she was really annoyed, and she was frustrated because of her lack of success of being able to catch the wind. Well, Solomon is saying when we climb up this ladder, when we chase after the success of money, it's going to leave us feeling the same way. We're going to feel annoyed. We're going to be frustrated. We're going to be dissatisfied. Now, that's not saying that money is bad. It's not. But it will never satisfy us. There was a poll that was taken, and it asked people, like, how much more money would you need to kind of just feel like you could breathe deep and almost relax a little, feel like it could take off the pressure of life. And it did not matter how much money a person had, whether they had like $1,200 or $120,000. Every single person's answer was the same. Everyone thought they needed 10% more. Because no matter how much money we have, we think it's never enough. We think that we always need more. So when it comes to chasing after this ladder of success and for money, it's always going to leave us discontent. And one of the reasons, I think, is because we're actually designed for the opposite. Listen to what Luke says in the book of Acts. He says, the Lord Jesus himself said, it is more blessed to give than to receive. See, we are created to be givers. So when we go through life trying to accumulate more and more and more money, it will always leave us feeling dissatisfied. We will never find fulfillment by trying to climb the ladder of money. The second ladder is the ladder of achievements. Have you ever thought, if I could just achieve X, Y, and Z, well, then I will feel successful? I mean, I know I have. In all honesty, I think I have probably lived my life at this ladder. Because I have constantly pursued fulfillment by trying through my achievements, hoping that that would bring me some sort of sense of satisfaction or success. I think back to my previous job working at a different church prior to Kensington, and I can remember receiving compliments for some of my achievements. And of course, well, that made me feel good. And it felt like I was having success. And so because of that, anytime another opportunity, another event, a project came along, I always said yes. Because if I could achieve it, then I felt like I was climbing up this ladder, that I was getting closer to a place where maybe I would actually experience satisfaction, that maybe I could actually get to the top of this ladder and find success. And this is the culture that we live in. Because whether it is performance-based or the stuff we own, we are always trying to achieve more. But the thing is, no matter how hard we work at it, or even how awesome those goals or the stuff is, whether it is for ourselves that we're trying to have achievements, whether it's for someone else, maybe it's for our kids, for our business, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Listen to what Solomon says in Ecclesiastes 2. I undertook great projects. I built houses for myself and planted vineyards. I made gardens and parks and planted all kinds of fruit trees in them. I made reservoirs to water groves of flourishing trees. I also owned more herds and flocks than anyone in Jerusalem before me. Yet, when I surveyed all that my hands had done and what I had toiled to achieve, everything was meaningless, a chasing after the wind. Nothing was gained under the sun. Solomon achieved a lot of great things. I mean, he climbed this ladder of achievement. But no matter how high he climbed, it never brought him success. It never brought that satisfaction. Once again, he says it is like chasing after the wind. And that in the end, it just left his soul feeling empty. My previous job, I did a lot. I accomplished a lot. But I was empty. I was tired. I was stressed. I was overwhelmed, under pressure. And no matter how high I continued to try and climb this ladder through my achievements, it never brought me the satisfaction or success. Now, that does not mean achieving great things is bad. Please don't hear that. But when we pursue these things, and when our fulfillment becomes dependent on our achievements, and climbing this ladder outweighs everything else, that's when it becomes unhealthy. When we put all of our hopes and our fulfillment of what we achieve, we will always come up short. Because no matter how high we climb up on this ladder, and no matter how awesome the things are that we're trying to achieve, they will never satisfy us. The third ladder that we're looking at today is the ladder of pleasure and fame. In Ecclesiastes 3, it says, I said to myself, come now, I will test you with pleasure to find out what is good. But that also proved to be meaningless. Laughter, I said, is madness, and what does pleasure accomplish? I tried cheering myself with wine and embracing folly. I became greater by far than anyone in Jerusalem before me. In all this, my wisdom stayed with me. I denied myself nothing my eyes desired. I refused my heart no pleasure. My heart took delight in all my labor, and this was the reward for my toil. Solomon, oh man, he was all about pleasure. I mean, he indulged in luxuries and comforts, like in anything he wanted. He lived this big, pampered life with no limits. And then on top of that, he was kind of well known. Like, he was famous. Like, if it was today's world, he'd be constantly in the news. Everyone would be following him on social media. You'd be buying his books, listening to his podcasts, and wanting to be his friend. I mean, Solomon climbed the ladder of pleasure and fame to no end. Now, I don't think many of us are a famous king or queen in here. And if you are, please tell me. I would like to know that about you. But we're actually not that much different than Solomon. Because some of us think that enough pleasure and fun will help us get to the top of this ladder to achieve some sort of success. Some of us think if we can entertain or indulge ourselves in things or people, devices, substances, or more, that we will find success. Some of us think that if we just keep going along and if we can get some attention or we can get noticed or affirmed by someone else, then we will find success. So we keep climbing this ladder in hopes that maybe if I get noticed at work or I get one more like or one more follower on social media, that I will finally find that fulfillment. But Solomon said it's all meaningless. We jump back to Ecclesiastes 1. He said, "What do people gain from all their labors at which they toil under the sun?" What do we gain? What do we gain when we climb these ladders? We feel empty, dissatisfied, anxious, angry, envious, overwhelmed, exhausted. Author and pastor Francis Chan says, "If we only live for what is under the sun, then we will never feel a truly satisfying level of success in life." If we only live for the temporary things, we will never experience success or satisfaction. Because if we keep climbing for that next rung or that next ladder, it will never bring us complete success because it doesn't exist. So when we try and we live our life in hopes of finding that, we're actually living for something that's not attainable. So if climbing the next rung or the next ladder only leads to a life that is meaningless, how then do we measure success? Maybe if we're not supposed to live for things under the sun, we should live for things above the sun. See, we live above the sun when we choose to live with tomorrow in mind. Ecclesiastes 3 says, "I have seen the burden God has laid on the human race. He has made everything beautiful in its time. He has also set eternity in the human heart." See, there is an eternal longing in each one of us. And nothing, I mean nothing under the sun will ever satisfy that longing. As we continue to try and climb these ladders, it will never be enough. They'll never find success or satisfaction because we have been created with eternity in our hearts. So how do we then live where eternity is our focus? Like, how do we live where we're intentional and we have purpose? How do we live beyond the temporary, where we're not focused and consumed with money or achievements or pleasure and fame? How do we do that? Hebrews 12 says, we do this by keeping our eyes on Jesus, the champion who initiates and perfects our faith. Because of the joy awaiting him, he endured the cross, disregarding its shame. It's by keeping our eyes, keeping our lives and our hearts focused on Jesus. But let's be honest, because for some of us, we might love Jesus a lot, but it's really easy to get consumed with this stuff. There's a lot of noise and chaos in life, and we are living in a culture that tells us to do whatever it takes to find success. So how then do we actually live with eternity as a focus? Like, how do we focus on Jesus? Well, I have three things that I think can help us today, and the first one is this: create routine. Create routine in your life where you can spend time focusing on Jesus. Like, you can't expect to focus on him if you never spend time with him. So carve out time in your daily life to be with Jesus. Maybe that's first thing in the morning, maybe that's over your lunch break, maybe that's in the evening before you go to bed. But take time where you can talk to him, where you can listen to him, where you can read his word. Coming to church on Sunday for an hour is great, but if we actually want to make this a part of our life where we are focusing beyond the temporary and beyond what's in the moment and actually looking ahead to the eternity of what Jesus offers us, we have to spend the time with him. So create the routine. Secondly, remove distractions. Sometimes we need to remove the distractions in our life. Sometimes we need to remove all of this. We got to get the ladders out of here. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to remove the ladders right now. But what or who in your life is keeping your focus off of Jesus? These things are not like quote unquote bad, but when they become of a greater importance in our life, it might be time to shift some things. Because it's really easy to get consumed with that stuff. So whether it is the TV shows that you continue to binge watch, or maybe it's the food or the shopping that you use to self-medicate, what are the things that are actually distractions from keeping you from focusing on Jesus? Now, that alone, you might be going, whew, that's a lot. There's a lot of things I got going on, Sean, and I got a lot of distractions, and I get it. So sometimes, instead of focusing on all of the distractions, begin to take a step of relying on Jesus more. To remind yourself of him by surrounding your life of things of Jesus. Because I have found that when we focus more on Jesus, when we put more and more of Jesus in our life, there's less room for the other stuff. So maybe it might just be as simple as putting a couple note cards with a scripture on your fridge or your bathroom mirror. Or maybe it's listening to uplifting music or a podcast. Maybe it's going out in nature to remind yourself of who he is, that he is a creator, of his majesty. But there are times we actually need to remove some of the distractions in our life. And sometimes we actually need to remove ourselves from just the daily rhythms of what we have going on so that we can focus on him. So here's a shameless plug, women. If you have not registered for the women's retreat, I would highly encourage you to do so. This is an opportunity to remove yourself from the daily rhythms of life where you get a couple days where you can just focus on Jesus. I would love to see you there. But remove the distractions. And finally, pursue purpose. We keep eternity as our focus when we see a kingdom purpose in all that we do. It's seeing the different aspect of our lives as opportunities to share the hope and the love of Jesus with the people around us. And to help us kind of keep this pursuit of purpose in mind as we go about our life, because it's not just like once every now and then, but really that this would become a part of our daily rhythm. I have a couple questions that we can ask ourselves on a daily basis. And the first one is this: how do I do this? Whatever this is. Maybe it's your job, it could be an activity, maybe you coach Little League. But how do I do this so it will matter for eternity and not just under the sun? Like, how can you make it have a purpose beyond the temporary? Because when we can see it beyond the temporary, we can see beyond that, it gives us this opportunity to pursue things without this desire of success because we're making it matter. We're making it matter beyond the moment and the temporary, but how can you give it a meaning for eternity? And secondly, how can this benefit more than just me? Who are you doing this for? When we give it a purpose beyond ourselves and for others, it gives us this opportunity and invites us into this purpose where we get to share the transforming love of Jesus with other people, and we get to be a part of making an eternal impact on other people's lives. Create routine, remove distractions, and pursue purpose. Jesus also had eternity on his mind. As we read just a moment ago in Hebrews, it says that it was the joy awaiting him beyond the cross that kept eternity in his heart. See, the cross changes everything for us. The cross gives us a new perspective to see beyond the moment, to see beyond just the temporary things of life. The cross brings meaning to our otherwise meaningless lives. And so today we want to just take the next few moments to reflect.
on the cross. So on your way in today, hopefully you received a communion packet. If not, just raise your hand and one of our team can bring that to you. But we want to take these next few moments to reflect on the cross and what it means for us to measure our lives through the lens of the cross and eternity when it comes to success. And maybe for some of us, that means we need to think through maybe some of the ladders that we've been trying to climb. And maybe to begin to see them through the lens of eternity instead. Maybe it's going, how can I create a routine in my life where Jesus is the focus and not the other stuff? Maybe it's thinking through maybe a distraction that you need to remove and how you can pursue purpose in your daily life. And so as the team sings this next song, I'm just going to invite you to just really lean in and to listen to these lyrics. Lyrics that reflect that our value, that the success, that the wealth of what our life is not found in our things. It's not the stuff, it's not the temporary, but it is because of the cross. And at whatever point you feel led during this next song, we invite you to receive communion at your own time. So as we prepare to step into this moment, I just want to take a moment to pray. God, I just thank you for the cross. And I pray for each one of us that we begin to see success through the lens of eternity, through your cross, that we would live lives that are focused on you, that we begin to take steps to lean into that, and that you would speak to our hearts even right now. Maybe show us the ladders that we have been pursuing. Maybe show us the areas that we've been distracted or consumed with the things, with the stuff, with things that are just temporary, and give us a heart and a vision for what is eternal. A heart for you. And we thank you for your cross.
There is a hill I cherish, where stood a precious cross, the emblem of salvation, the gift of Calvary. How is it I should profit while he is crucified? Yet as his life was taken, so I was granted mine. My wealth is in the cross. There's nothing more I want than just to know his love. My heart is set on Christ, and I will count all else as loss. The greatest of my crowns mean nothing to me now, for I counted up the cost, and all my wealth is in the cross. And I shall not boast in riches. I have no pride in gold, but I will boast in Jesus, bows before the Lord. Let this be my confession. My wealth is in the cross. Yeah, my wealth is in the cross. There's nothing else I want than just to know His love. My heart is set on Christ, and I'll count all else as lost. The maintenance of my crowns means nothing to me now, for I counted up the cost, and all my wealth is in the cross. There's nothing more I want than just to know His love. My heart is set on Christ, and I will count all else as lost. The greatest of my crowns mean nothing to me now, for I counted up the cost, and all my wealth is in the Oh God, in this moment of worship and communion, as we take these elements, Jesus, I pray that it would not be in vain, that it would not just be this activity, this religion, this tradition that we do, God, but it would really be a moment that we truly remember what it is you did for us. As we look at what it might be like for us to not fix our hope and dreams and success on the things of this world, because it will lead us to nothing. But Jesus, as we remember the power of the cross and the eternal consequence that that has for us, where we get new life in you, Jesus, I pray that that's what we would fix our future to. That's what we would anchor ourselves to. So Jesus, I pray in this moment that would be real. That's it, God. That's all I'm asking, that would be real for each and every one of us. Because we want to let go of this world and we want to cling to you, Jesus. Amen. Well, we have one final song that Tori is going to lead us in called Give Me Jesus. This is actually an older hymn that a lot of you are probably familiar with. We've even done it here at Kensington a few times, but this version by Upper Room is kind of like a modern take on it, but I think it is really beautiful. So in a moment, Tori is actually going to teach us the chorus, so we get to that part of the song we can all sing it together. But I just want to invite you in this moment, please continue to engage with Jesus however you need to. If you just need to sit in this moment, let these words wash over you, please do that. Commune with God. Invite him into this moment where you can say, God, I want to fix my eyes on the things that matter, on the things that are eternal. Lord, could you help me? But I also want to invite, if you want to, and if it's right for you, would you stand and sing with us as Tori teaches us this chorus? Give me Jesus, give me Jesus. You can have all this world. You can have all this. I'll spend forever in the pleasure I found looking in your eyes. Give me Jesus, give me Jesus. You can have all this world. You can have all this world. More than silver, more than gold. You are the treasure that I hold. Now that I've tasted of your goodness, nothing else will satisfy. Just give me Jesus. Give me Jesus. You can have all this world. You can have all this world. Give me Jesus. Give me Jesus. You can have all this world. You can have all this world. I just want Jesus. I just want Jesus. I just want Jesus. I just want Jesus. Oh, and I don't want anyone else. I don't need anything else. You are my one thing. You are my one thing. I don't want anyone else. I don't need anything else. You are my one thing. You are my one thing. I don't want anyone else, and I don't need anything else. You are love that so much. I don't want anyone else. I don't need anything else. You are my one thing. Man, if we can actually sing that and believe it, when we proclaim that in this room, over our lives, and to Jesus, man, I can't imagine what's on the other side. Can we sing that again together? I don't want anyone else. I don't need anything else. You are my one thing. Let's lift every voice and sing that together.
When we measure success through the lens of eternity, it invites our hearts into this posture to say, just give me Jesus. Now, I know for some of us, we're at different places in our faith journey, and we've tried a lot of the things that the world has offered us, things that we thought would bring us success, which would hopefully then bring satisfaction. And maybe you're still questioning who this Jesus is and what this is all about. I would just encourage you to lean in, ask questions, but begin a journey of discovering Him. Because the satisfaction that comes through Jesus Christ is a complete satisfaction. It is a wholeness and a fullness that we will never experience in anything else in all of this world. And we are invited to look at our lives through the lens of Christ, through a lens of eternity where we can put aside the things of this world. And my hope for each one of us is that our hearts would then say, just give me Jesus. Because that is the cry of my heart. May everything else go fade away, take it away. I just want Jesus. And so as we go about today and as our week ahead, may that be the focus. Maybe you think about the ladders that maybe you have been climbing, or the areas of your life maybe you need some routine to focus on Jesus, or the distractions that you need to remove, and how you can pursue purpose each day. I want to let you know that our prayer team will be down front, and they're available for you. And if you have any other questions or would like to discover more about Kensington, please stop by the hub. Our team would love to be able to connect with you. But we hope that you go today with a focus of eternity as a measure of success, and that you will join us back here for week 2 next Sunday, a measure of success. Have a wonderful day.